5 states, that is new, ready, running, termination, exit. To the 5 states we additionally add 2 more states. The first one is, we say new. New is nothing but start only. Next we go for ready queue. Next we go for ready queue. Next we go for run state. Next we go for termination state. So between that we have a state called blocked or wait. We can also call block or waits. So to this blocked state we have 2 states, that is blocked, suspended and ready, suspended. So from the ready to run, run to blocked, blocked to blocked suspended and to this. Now from new to ready we call it as a long term scheduling. Already we discussed in the class. So there are 3 schedulers: long term schedulers, short term schedulers and medium term schedulers. So from ready, start state to ready state we say that that is a long term scheduling. Then ready state to run state we call it as a short term scheduling. And from run to blocked, blocked to ready, we all the things we call it as a short term scheduling only. Now from block to blocked suspended to ready suspended to ready, we call it as a medium term scheduling. So here a process P1 is in new state, it go for the ready queue with the help of the long term scheduling. Now CPU has a given signal and so the process P1 has to start. Now P1 moves from ready state to run. P1 has to move from ready state to run. Now P1 is coming to here. Now I want to stop the process. Then your process will move to the blocked state. Now the process came to the blocked state. From this blocked state, now when the signal is there, we are ready to go. We say similarly, when a process want to move out of the blocked state, immediately they should transfer to the blocked suspended. From the blocked suspended, where it will go? Actually from blocked suspended to it has to go to the ready state. But internally from blocked state to blocked suspended it will move. From blocked suspended to ready suspended and from ready suspended to ready. That means in this way it is going to travel. So here from blocked to blocked suspended and to ready suspended we use the medium term scheduling algorithms. Already the concepts of scheduling algorithms we discussed in the last class. Now I am going to explain you the short term schedulings, that is comes to the unit 2. Clear? Now we have different kinds of scheduling algorithms. We have different types of scheduling algorithms for shortest scheduling algorithms. The first one is FCFS, that is first come first serve. So first come first serve is the scheduling algorithm. It works based on the principle of queue. So it is based on the principle of queue. So what is a queue? Which element comes to the queue first, that will be more. First in, first out. First element will be moved first out. Similarly, when your ready queue consists of different processes, out of all the processes, first process which is came to the ready queue, that will be transferred to the run state. Consider here we have 3 processes P1, P2, P3. So there are 3 processes P1, P2, P3. So P1 came to the queue first, then P2 came, then P3 came. Here what is happening? In the first come first serve scheduling algorithm, it will not check how much time it will the process will be executed. Consider process P1 want to execute for 40 seconds, P2 want to execute for 60 seconds, P3 want to execute for 2 seconds. So this execution time we call it as a burst time. We call it as what? Burst time. Now P1, P2, P3, 40, 62. So here which process is come to the queue first? Now the process P1 is come to the queue first. So operating system will run the P1 first if you use the first come first serve scheduling algorithm. So P1 completed, then which process is in the queue? P2. So P2 will complete for 60 seconds. Next which process is that? P3. P3 will execute for 2 seconds. So here what is happening? In order to complete the just 2 minutes of work, P2 has to wait for 100 seconds. So here we have a drawback in the FCFS scheduling algorithm. So in FCFS scheduling algorithm, so process P1 is coming to the queue first, so that is executed. Then P2 came, P2 executed, then P3 came, P3 will be executed. But what the drawback here we have? So the services time of P1 and P2 is more compared to P3. So P3 want to do the task only for 2 seconds, but it has to wait for completion of P1 as well as completion of P2. So here we have some drawbacks with the help of the FCFS scheduling algorithm. Now we will calculate average waiting time. So averagely how much time each process has to wait in the ready queue we are going to calculate now. Clear? Now I am writing the Gantt chart. So with the help of the Gantt chart we calculate average waiting time of each process. So based on the average waiting time of each process, we should decide whether we have to use the FCFS, next algorithm shortest job first, next algorithm priority queue. So we have different kinds of scheduling algorithms. Based on the average waiting time, we allocate the scheduling algorithms, shortest scheduling algorithm to the CPU so that that will be executed in that order. So the CPU will perform the task very easily without wasting of time. So that is the main use of selecting of scheduling algorithms. Now I am preparing the Gantt chart. So Gantt chart is nothing but average waiting time. How much average waiting time it has to wait. Now P1 is came to the queue. Now what is happening? P1 came. Is it waiting for some time to process? No, it is came to the first queue. So queue is executing that. So average waiting time of P1 is what? 0. So it has P1 has no wait. Directly it is going to execute the process by CPU. Now P2 came. So how much time P1 will work? P1 will work for 40 seconds. So until unless P1 completes the work, P2 will not start. Now the turn of P2 came. Now P2 is going to start. Now P2 will work for 60 seconds. Already P1 completed 40 seconds. Now P2 is work for 60. 40 plus 60. So P2 completes the work at 100th second. Now how much time P3 has to wait? Now the turn of P3 will come. So P3 starts for 100th second. Now it will complete the work by 102 seconds. That means internally for P1 no waiting. Directly the process is executed. P2 how much time it has to wait? Until unless P1 completed the work. So P1 completed the work by 40 seconds. So P2 has to wait for 40 seconds. Now next P3. So P3 has to wait how much time? P1 completed the task, P2 completed the task. Then the turn of P3 will come. So when the P3 will come? When the P3 is started at 101 second P3 is started. But how much time it has wait? It has a wait of 100 seconds. Now how to calculate the average waiting time? Average waiting time is equals to P1, P2, P3 by 3. So that is 0 plus 40 plus 100. 0 plus 40 plus 100 by 3. Now that is 140 by 3. So 3 2s are 12, 3 4s are 12, 3 8s are 16. Sorry. So averagely 46.6 seconds each process has to wait in the ready queue. So this is a first come first serve scheduling algorithm. So that means how much time each process has to wait in the queue? Averagely 46 seconds it has to wait. Why? Because here P1 has more time, P2 has more time compared to P1, but P3 in order to complete the 2 seconds of work it has to wait averagely 46 seconds. So this scheduling is not right for such kind of process execution. Clear? FCFS means first come first serve. A process first వస్తే అదే ప్రాసెస్ కంటిన్యూస్ గా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది. Clear? So this we call it as a first come first serve scheduling algorithm. So this we call it as a GNAT. Based on the GNAT, we calculate the average waiting time and we calculate the average waiting time of the 3 processes with the FCFS and the next shortest job first, next priority. So we calculate the 3 processes scheduling algorithms. Then which time is less here, that we apply to the CPU so that the CPU will perform the task in a less efficient